Good morning, Facebook. Happy Friday. It is Friday. My week is not over. I still have to go to LA tomorrow for some meetings, but I'm happy for most of you whose week is coming to an end and you can relax for the weekend. That's great. I have a busy weekend and a busy week coming ahead, so no time to rest. So good morning and welcome. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let me get my light right, everybody. Okay, there we go. I'm going to also share this. Let me refresh. I want to share on my personal page just to get people interested in watching. So hope all is well with everybody and you guys are having a good morning. Today is the third day in my series of Sexy Local Politics, and I called it that, just FYI. I don't like my light right now, but whatever. I was watching a woman speak in Aspen at a conference, and she was talking about how we should be more interested in local politics and why we're so infatuated with and brainwashed by what's going on at a national level that we really need to be more worried about local politics, and we need to make local politics sexy. And that's kind of where I got my idea about making this 8-day series leading up to the launch of my book. Is 8 days of ideas to get active now and how to make local politics sexy again. And again, I don't know if it's ever been sexy, but you know, it's interesting for people to want to watch or pay attention to, because people, I mean, anything sexy, people are going to be on top of it and watching it and into it. So how can we make it exciting or make it interesting? You know, I know my topic of what I choose to talk about is not the most exciting thing to talk about, but it's important. And it's very important to me, and I feel it needs to be important to communities of color specifically. So that's the whole reason why I decided to write the book. And I know it's not the most popular topic. It's not exciting. People aren't going to be like, ooh, I want to buy her book because it's about politics, or I want to watch her live because she didn't talk about politics. Nobody wants to hear the real deal. Nobody wants to hear the truth. So I'm going to share this on my personal page right now and do that. So that is all good to go. But yeah, so day 3 of Sexy Local Politics and why it's important for us to pay attention to it. Rhonda, order it. The link is on there to order a signed copy. I'm getting all those orders for the signed copies are going to be delivered to me. I'm going to sign them and ship them out probably by the 3rd week in November, because I'm out all week next week. But it's there. It's everywhere on my website. I mean, on my Facebook page, the link, but I'll add it in the comments as well. But I mentioned you, I think that day 1 or day 2, about your experience being in the workshop on sitting at the table or be on the menu, and how you made a difference in your city and being on your commission and the things that you did. So, you know, I was hoping that you were going to jump on that day, because I was telling people how much you have done and about the skate park that you initiated. And I don't know if you want to share anything else that you initiated sitting on the Parks and Recs Commission in your city, and the changes you've been able to make while having your seat at the table. So my whole mission is to get people on commissions, get people interested in elected office, possibly running, but also just engaged and knowing who the leaders are that are running for office or that are at the decision-making tables, so you can affect their decisions and you can influence their decisions. So you can sit on both sides. Sometimes it's even more powerful to not be an elected official and to have that influence and power behind the scenes to have an influence on policy and decisions being made within your county because there's two ways to go about it. You can sit at the table, and you could also sit at the table in the background and be influencing decisions that are being made that affects you. Okay? So in my book, I teach you how to do both. And it's, you know, this chapter that I'm talking about today is in chapter 2. It's called Running for Office. And here's my book again, everybody. I shared it at a meeting yesterday and at the Black Leadership Kitchen Cabinet meeting, and I got so many offers to come into schools. I offered to donate 30 books to a school that had Black and brown students, a majority, and I wanted to donate a box of 30 books and come in and read it with them and engage and talk with them about it. So I'm so excited. I got I don't know how many offers to do it, and offers for people to buy it in bulk. So it's really exciting. You know, I really want to get it out there. Anybody on the East Side School District, teachers that want me to come into the high schools and talk about it, this is so important. And even though it's not the most exciting topic, I can make it exciting as possible. Okay, Rhonda, it said, it helped greatly. I'm speaking 2 times next week at San Jose City Hall and running again for Parks and Recs or the Planning Commission. That's awesome, Rhonda. I'm so glad that you attended my Sit at the Table or Be on the Menu workshop several years ago, and it's gotten you engaged, it's gotten you involved. You are inspiring to me, and one of the stories that I always go to about people who have, you know, taken my advice and some of my information and did something with it. And although I did that class and about 4 or 5 of you have joined commissions, I don't always hear about those stories when they go and join the commission. So I appreciate people that tell me that they went to go do it after they went to the class. So anyway, this chapter is called Running for Office, okay? And the reason why I'm going to tie it, and I'm going to tell you guys about this guy that I met here locally. I was at a meeting, and he came up to me, young guy, and he introduced himself, gave me a card, and it says Presidential Candidate for 2020. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about him in a minute after I read a portion from my book. So, you know, in this portion is Running for Office, and I just talk about, you know, you should be an established person in business and community, have done some foundational work within your community before you just jump in and run. You know, people should know you. People should, you know, you should have some influence. You should, you know, be involved in your community some way, somehow. Neighborhood association, commission, boards, committees to do work, charity work. You should have some traction and some visibility, and people should know you, whether business, community. There's several ways for you to step up and stand out, but lay that foundation before you decide to run. And in this book, that's what I talk about. And what, you know, part of it is understanding your position too, and really, you know, really knowing what you're running for, and not just jumping in, and not really understand where you're going and understand politics. That it's hard to just, oh, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry, guys. Let me decline that. Oops, sorry. It took me off of here for a minute. Anyway, you really got to know what you're running for. You can't just, you know, I talked to several politicians before I wrote this book, and before I was creating a course to get people ready to run for office or sit on boards and commissions. I was talking to several politicians, and one of them told me, he's like, you'd be surprised that people just jump in a race. They don't even know what the position is. They don't even know what that position does, or what area it covers, or exactly what that entails, you know, and what type of work you're really going to be doing. Because some people have no clue. So it's so important that you know the position you're running for, and you have some type of foundation of leadership before you jump in and run for office. So anyway, I also wrote, another strong requirement is thick skin, right? You have to have thick skin to run for office, and if you don't, you're gonna break, because they're gonna come after you. You know, your opponents might put out mailers about you that are false. Ask some of the politicians. The more ridiculous it sounds, it's probably wrong. If it just sounds way out of whack, then it's probably wrong. So, you know, let me just read this part. Another strong requirement is thick skin. You ever see those mailers commercials during a political season that flood your mailbox and television? If you're like me and know most of the candidates on these mailers and commercials, you can definitely confirm that most of what they portray is lies, especially when they're just downright negative and ridiculous. The more ridiculous it sounds, the more than likely it's a huge exaggeration and a long stretch of the truth. So you must be able to take the heat and still present yourself with integrity and poise while out in public. Plus, smile and be cordial with the opposition that put those lies out about you. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and they take no prisoners, and only the strong survive. So that's one paragraph, and then I talk about that I talked to several community and political leaders and asked them about the candidates and exactly what I said earlier. They need to know about the race they're running. So anyway, let me quickly go to the guy that I met. I was at a meeting, I forget what meeting I was, and he came up to me and he said, I'm so-and-so, I'm running for president in 2020, and I want to take down Donald Trump and blah, 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 which is great. You want to take down Donald Trump, but several people do. So I applaud that. But the issue was, so the next question that I had, obviously, is, so what have you been involved in? What have you done in the community? What do you do? And he's like, well, I'm not working right now, but let me tell you, my mom, her 911 recording helped train the dispatchers of San Jose Police Department from her call, and that was his claim to fame. And not saying you have to have a claim to fame to run for office. It's just that that's what he was going off of when he wasn't prepared to answer my question. Because he might have done other things in the community, but he automatically went to his mom and not about what he did and what his influence was and what he has done within his community. He was talking about what his mom's 911 call did for the San Jose Dispatch Department. And I encourage anybody to run for office. I think it's very important for us to sit at the table. That's what I preach all the time. But you got to be prepared. And the only way you know is by learning and by mentors and by watching and by observing. Like I've said before, I'm not a political expert whatsoever. I didn't go to school for it. My perspective is from a community person, from a community leader side, from somebody who's been involved in several campaigns, for people who's asked me for advice that have wanted to run, people that want me to be on their campaign team. All of these different things that I've learned throughout the years, it has got me to the point where I wanted to write a book about it from my perspective. It might not be 100% right, but it's my perspective. So when, I gave him my card, he emailed me that night and was asking me if I'd come be on his campaign team and if I'd help him. And I sent him a long email and I said, look, when I asked you what you did in the community and what you're involved in and where you worked and what's your profession, and you told me that about your mom's 911 dispatch call, I'm sorry, I don't have time to get behind you because honestly, I feel like you're wasting your time. And I had to be honest with him because I really felt that way at that time. I really felt that if you don't get some education, if you don't learn what you're doing first before you just jump in and run, you're just going to be wasting a whole lot of time that nobody has. So I'm not going to waste you. Maybe you could waste your family and friends that don't know nothing about the political platform or the scene or know what you need to do, and they just go because they love and support you. But you need to know what you're doing before you jump in, okay? And that, my book will give you those tidbits on that. And also, you need to do the research. It's just basic research you need to do before you even get ready to run. And he's one of the reasons why I decided to create my course. Not write my book. I was writing my book at the time, but create the course to help people really get to know what they don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know. As communities of color, we don't know what we need to know. We don't know that we need to know all this stuff. And this is why I'm pushing it so hard because, a lot of us are interested in going getting that new Apple iPhone, right? But we are not interested in politics, in local politics whatsoever. It is not fun. It's not exciting. And that's why I'm trying to make it sexy. Because everybody loves sexy, right? Everybody loves something sexy. So let's try to make it sexy and make it interesting. If not for us, but for our children, to make them understand the importance of it. So That's why I'm encouraging people to order these books for classrooms. I will come in for free and talk about it and sign them for the kids and discuss it and make it fun and connect it. What I personally like to do is always connect it to something that interests them, something that interests you, right? Hi, Camille, how are you? Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't talked to you in a while, but nice to see you. So we have to be able to connect it to something interesting with them, and that's what I try to do in the book. It's a very short and simple book that helps people just get it. It's just basic stuff. It's basic stuff, and my mission is to get hundreds of people to either get interested in running for office or join a board and commission. So anyway, I'm not going to keep you guys too much longer. I wanted to share a story about Donald Trump's opponent and read a little bit about in my book. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I'll put the link again in this post, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Take care. Bye.